Whoa, I'm back. What's up? So, thought I'd do a check-in. Today is World Mental Health Day, which is a cool day. It's October 10th. So just to start, some statistics. Not much has changed. Oh, whoa. I guess this garden plot's not here anymore. Oop. It, it's getting dark now earlier, so okay, Earth, ruining my vlog. Okay, so just to come back to where I started these videos, thought it'd be like a nice like full circle moment, checking in with some stats. Although I think I may have said these last year, and really nothing much has changed. But some stats for World Mental Health Day. 1 in 4 US adults had mental illness in 2024, which is pretty in line with the year before that. 5.6 of US adults, about 14.6 million, had serious mental illness. Only about half of Americans with mental illness received any care, and serious mental illness is around 71% of treatment, whereas all mental illness, which is just mental illness in general, was about 52%. So that means people who have mental illness, around half of them are not getting treated. Although if you have a serious mental illness, then about 2/3 of those people are being treated. Wait time for behavioral health care averaged about 48 days. So if you need a appointment with a psychologist or a psychiatrist or something like that, or inpatient treatment, you kind of have to wait 48 days, which is a substantial amount of time. 127.4 million Americans live in shortage areas. Those are areas without a mental health care provider or just access to mental health care. Although now with the rise of virtual mental health care, that is becoming less of a problem, even though in-person mental health care is still something that people generally need and benefit from. So in those areas around, it's projected that 6,405 clinicians are needed to meet the need for these areas, which doesn't actually sound like that much. I mean, it is a lot of people that need to be trained, but it seems like a totally manageable amount of people to be trained to become these clinicians. So that's a gap in treatment, but it also sounds like something that could happen, which is cool. The shortages disproportionately affect rural areas, which you could probably assume, but that also ties in with virtual healthcare, because in these rural areas, virtual healthcare becomes more of the norm. And then also some statistics about the rise of virtual healthcare. About 65% of psychiatry visits were virtual last year. Pretty cool. The rise of virtual healthcare is like something that's very cool, because you can just like drop into a therapy session, whereas before that was like a thing that was invented. You were out of luck if there was no one in your area. So that's pretty cool. And then something that's good news is the 988 suicide hotline number, or it's basically like a crisis number that is, if you are in a crisis, a mental health crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone, you can call or text 988, which is pretty cool, because that used to not exist. It used to be a like private service that was like through an organization, and now it's actually a federally funded service where you could actually call someone if you're in a like mental health care crisis, which is a broad ranging amount of things that you could actually call for. But essentially what happens is, if you're in crisis, you can call them and they'll connect you to treatment resources in your area, or they'll just stay on the line with you and kind of talk you down and be with you in that moment, which is amazing. Like that exists is an amazing thing, and really awareness around that resource needs to become more of a thing, because it's a resource that could really save lives. Because in crisis, when you're in crisis, you need to get out of crisis. And if you have no one in your life or no one around you that could actually help you in that moment, it's something to reach out to. It's like a tether to humanity that can bring you down and save your life. So 988, it had a slight increase in funding this year in 2025, but that's something that could be expanded way more. Yeah. So that's an update on mental health care in 2025 on Mental Health Care Day, or World Mental Health Care Day, or World Mental Health Day. Pretty cool. I mean, like, not cool, obviously, the things that are bad, but it's like manageable. The United States is like the country in the world that has the most mental health care resources, and like it seems like just some more investment and just more awareness of the actual reality of mental health would be able to make access to mental health care so normal that it's not even thought about as something that's different than physical health. Which is a whole other thing to bring up, is mental health care parity. I did not get the statistics on that because there is some problems happening with that in the federal government, and that could be like an entire other vlog. And I'm not super up on it right now, so I don't want to spread misinformation. Though if you Google mental health care parity, you'll be able to find it. So that's the World Mental Health Day update. I also wanted to update on the project because I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh, I guess I don't have too much to update about. But then I was like thinking about it a little bit more, and I was like, oh, whoa, I actually do have a bunch to update about. So I just released an album called Weeks, which is pretty good. It's lo-fi ambient. I like it a lot. I don't know if you can hear church bells in the distance. Fall in love again and again, fall in love again and again. Any Charlie heads out there, oh my god. So yeah, released Weeks. It's pretty good. I actually filmed the video for it over there, and then in the previous vlog I talked about it in terms of what I was planning on doing, and I am showing it right now, the video. Essentially, the thesis for the video is basically like, there's like moments in life where you're not necessarily like aware of them in the moment, but when you look back, it's like, whoa, how was that only like a few weeks, but it feels like it was such like a saturated, lush period of time that like felt like forever, but then you look back and it was just like a few weeks. So that's what that is about. It's a reflection on that. The map that I talked about in the last video is almost done. I've been coding it, and it's pretty cool. Like, I didn't realize the capability of what I could do with this map until like I started like working on that project more, and then I was like, oh my god, this could be really cool. And I got more on that later because it just aligns with something that I was working on before and then had to put down because I didn't know how to code. And then now that I know how to code, I'm like, oh my god, like this is the same thing. This is just the same thing. So I'm also working on starting to make the website into the Fund Mental Health Care website into a news/information/resource hub, which also aligns with what I'll talk about in a second. And then yeah, I'm just like realizing what's possible now that I know how to code. There's so many like interesting things about coding where it's like when you learn something, you can apply it to other things. Then when you like apply it to something else, you'll like learn something else, and you can like apply what you learned to the thing that you like first was working on. And that's like what I'm experiencing now, and it's really cool. Because there's just all these things that I just like didn't know how to do but was aware of their existence or whatever. And then now that I know how to do them, or now I know how to like work with an AI to like code them, I'm like, oh my god, like this could actually be a really comprehensive resource. And just talk about that a little bit more. So like there are resources like Psychology Today has a really good database for finding like a therapist. As I mentioned in the previous vlog, like there are organizations that do walking groups and all that kind of stuff, but there isn't necessarily like a centralized location, like website, domain, URL, or maybe future app to go to that has just like all of this stuff just like aggregated and put together into like one one spot. And that's essentially what I'm working on building right now, and like that's what I'm like realizing I could actually build. It's really exciting because to get into, I mean, like to circle back to like the rural healthcare situation, like these areas don't have formal healthcare services, but there are like informal community health services like walking groups and all these kinds of things. Or there could be other types of groups created like art clubs or just like potluck dinners and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm working on right now, is figuring out how to like make this map pretty comprehensive nationwide, because like it's just a website, and websites can just like be nationwide, which is really cool. And yeah, that's what I'm working on right now, and it's pretty cool. Okay, well, so that realization, it made me realize, I'm like, whoa, this is exactly the same idea that I was working on during the pandemic. I forgot, like, oh my God, whoa, I just remembered, whoa. So in the pandemic, I just like was very acutely aware of the shortage of resources in like rural areas, and just like kind of in general, like I was like really fixated on how like 311 isn't federally funded. So like 311, like if you're in an area without coverage, like you just like don't have 311 service. And then like like in a moment like COVID, like when there's a literal like global pandemic crisis situation, like if you're in a rural area, like you're just like kind of out of luck, because there's like no resources that have been like invested in those communities, and that's just like kind of unacceptable when we think about like this country as a whole. Like it should be equal. I mean, obviously it's not going to be like so equal that there's probably always going to be more coverage in like a big city like Chicago, New York, LA, or anything like that. But it shouldn't be so stark of a difference where half of the people in the United States do not have access to a single in-person mental health provider. Like that's kind of unacceptable. And then also that these same locations don't have 311 service. Like it's, again, unacceptable. So it's like, okay, so like how are these people how are these people supposed to live functionally when like they have to live, like when they have to like have like healthcare, like the reality of human healthcare, like having a human body, when they have to like do things like figure out how to do anything within their municipality, like because like 301 doesn't exist, like there's not like a easy way to find all this information. And then when like, let's say a government website, that's probably also, yeah, I remember if like, I remember just like going through like various government websites and then being like, this government website is broken, and it's an important website and it just like doesn't work. So I couldn't imagine how frustrated I would be if I lived in the area that government website like was providing coverage for, and it just like didn't work. I would be so mad. I'd be like, how am I supposed to live? And it's like not funny at all, but it's just like so absurd that it's just incredible that we just like live in this country and like we're like, okay, yeah, everything, like, you know, I mean, not everyone isn't like everything's great, but like we're supposed to just like accept things as they are. And if we just invest in infrastructure for the people and the government, then it'll be easier for people to live, and people will like act better, be able to live better. It'll just be easier to live. like there would be more cohesiveness within the population if it is easier to live, and that's just like irrefutable. Like that's just a thing. I remember also thinking about C-SPAN. Like C-SPAN back then wasn't streamed on, it's now streamed on YouTube. It's like now being streamed on YouTube, but back then C-SPAN, you had to like pay for cable to get C-SPAN, which is just like so annoying because C-SPAN is like it is like the most reputable political information source. And back in COVID, like there was a lot of like not reputable information like being disseminated into the public through social media and all that kind of stuff, and it just like frustrated the hell out of me because it's like, okay, if you really want to figure out what's going on in the real-time situation that is COVID, like C-SPAN is great because you're literally being able to watch Congress as it happens, instead of having the information being filtered through news, like news channels and websites that like are funded by advertisement and have an incentive to make you angry so you click more. So that just like made me really mad. And then I remember I just like emailed like every politician that was around, and then that was like also around like the election. So I remember I started like volunteering like too much. I remember, oh my god, I went to this one like political event that like was like a workout in someone's like backyard or whatever, and it was like after I had just like stayed up all night just like working on something, and I like worked out so hard that I literally just like got up from the workout and I threw up, and then I went back to working out just like as if nothing happened, and everyone, like not everyone, but like just like people noticed and were just like, what? And this was like not in my congressional district because I just like was at that moment like trying to have as much of an impact as possible. And that was like, that was not efficient labor. I was not doing, I was not, like, that's just like, that was stupid. But it was like in a moment of like global crisis, and I just like needed to feel like I was doing something because the opposite was just like feeling like I'm doing nothing. And that was just like, it was untenable to me. So, damn, wow. I'm just remembering all this now, and it's just like, wow. COVID was such an experience. So I remember, okay, so towards the end of COVID, or not towards the end of COVID, towards the end of the first year of COVID, towards the beginning of COVID, that's when I figured out how much I truly love gardening, because like that is really what got me through that time. And then also like painting and gardening and just like doing all these kinds of things, like that really got me through. Like, oh my god. I'm just remembering COVID. It was like hard. I mean, preaching to the choir. So at the end of that year, I found myself working in an Amazon warehouse, and like that was difficult. But like during that, I also was like highly motivated to like just work on, like I've always like been like working on like entrepreneurial projects, and like something came to mind then that essentially was like, it's actually really interesting how it came to be. Because it initially started out as like a 311 service, like a privatized 311 service, where I was like, okay, like what is 301? It's like a form, like, so I was like, oh, okay, I can just like make this form, this like chatbot or whatever. It's so funny now that like we have just like chatbots as just like very normal things. Like back then it was really funny. Okay, so I was basically like, okay, how can I make this thing? So I made this company called How's Today that was essentially going to be like a chatbot. And then I was like, okay, I can't monetize that, and I need to like monetize something. So then I made it like basically like be like an HR chatbot, which would be like you can talk to the chatbot and just like tell it what you're experiencing in the office or whatever. And that information can be filtered up to like HR or like managers or whatever. So you can be like, I didn't get training on this thing or whatever. And then it can just like let your boss know without like you having to directly go, which like some people are like afraid to do or whatever. So did that. And then like, because I actually don't know how to code a chatbot or anything like that, which I could now, but like, I just like moved on from that very quickly. Cause I was like, I do not know how to do this. And then, so then I was like, ooh, but I like the name How's Today, because like, I've just been thinking about the word today for like a very long time, like since before then. because today it's like this like passing moment. It's like every day that you're in is always today. Like every moment that you're in is always today. Like it's always today. Like, oh my god, is it like today? Is it like right now? Like, is it like what's happening? Like, it's right now, it's today. We'll always have today. Tomorrow, not guaranteed. Yesterday, it's gone. So it's like you have today. So I loved the name How's Today. So then I was like, okay, that could be like the same principle of the HR bot could be applied to therapy, where it's like you can just like talk to this bot, and then that information can be filtered over to your therapist as like insights and notes, so that you can have more guided therapy sessions, because your therapist will have the notes and all that kind of stuff of like what you've been talking with the bot about. And then like that's an interesting thing. And then I was like, okay, but I was like, again, don't know how to code. So what I did is, okay, this is pretty cool. So while I was working at the Amazon warehouse, I started making these t-shirts. Oh my god. And I just like really made a lot of them. Here's one of them. I'm not wearing it right now because it's like cold out again, and I'm so happy that it's cold. But here's one of them. Oh! Mental health care for all. So I was like, this is cool. This is like something that I can do. I can make these t-shirts. I can sell them on Etsy. I know how to sell things online. So I'll just do that, and then I'll fundraise, like, and I'll donate money to nonprofits, and that'll just be like a thing that I do. So I did that for a few months, like kind of iconically. I'm going to, at the end of this vlog, cut to vlogs that I made for this company, because like I at some point made a Kickstarter, and then a part of like the rewards thing was like, oh, and then you'll get access to like a vlog of me building this company. So I'll do the greatest hits after I am done talking here or whatever. It's like, it's pretty funny because like this was happening during COVID. Oh my god, it was like all very real time. It's all still real time. It's today. So, all right, Amazon, when you work in the warehouse, has this thing called VTO, voluntary time off. So what I would do is like I would be getting like I remember exactly where I was when I got my first order for How's Today, like the Etsy shop. It was for a postcard, and I was standing right by one of the bay doors and wow, I got like the Etsy sound is very beautiful. So I got the sound, and then I was like, oh my god, I made a sale. And it was during like in the morning when we've already like sorted and packed everything, and then now we're like bringing the bags to the delivery trucks. So it was like during this process or whatever, and I got the notification. I was like, okay, proof of concept, I can sell something online for this project. So I just like took that and ran with it, and like whenever I would like get orders, I would do voluntary time off when it's available. It would just be on my, like, because we would just get like a notification when it was available, and I was like like and then I would literally just like sprint home from the warehouse, and then I would pack up orders, and I would go to the post office, and I would just like drop it off, and then like maybe I would actually go back to work. Like I have no idea. Like I'm sure that happened at least like once. Or I'll just like go to sleep. Or there would be times where I would get an order that I needed to make, and then I would take the VTO, or I'd take my PTO or whatever, and then I would drive to like a Walmart, and then I would sleep in my car for like maybe like 2 hours or something, because this was like Walmart's aren't 24/7 anymore. So I'd like sleep in my car, and then I would set an alarm, and then I would be like the first person into the Walmart, and I would buy the t-shirt that I needed to dye, and then I would dye the t-shirt that morning, and then I would screen print it, and then I'd ship it like that afternoon. I was like that committed to just like fast turnaround, because I was like, if it needs to be fast turnaround, because like this is e-commerce, baby. Like I'm literally working for Amazon. Okay, I needed part 3. I didn't realize it's gonna be so much. Oh my god. But I'm like, I literally work for Amazon right now. Like I need, like this needs to be as fast as Amazon. So I like basically had a commitment to making it like a 1 day turnaround or like 2 days like max. And it was really fun. I like made these shirts, and then I painted these paintings, and then I sold the paintings. I also like made things like picture frames, which I thought was like a cool thing, and what, just like other things, just like other objects that like were related to mental health care. Like a photo frame is a great idea for that, because like you can put a photo of someone that you had a good memory with, or like just like a photo of a good memory in there, and like that's kind of a beautiful thing to me, because it's like this object that has meaning, and then also it raises money for mental health care services. So that was like really cool and great. Eventually, of course, I like completely burnt out because I was not sleeping at all, and I was doing this, and I just like burnt out, and I was like, I can't work at this warehouse anymore because it's killing me. I need like a more regular schedule, or like a more, like I can't do the graveyard shift. So I quit that job, and then I got I got a job at a garden center, and then I quit the Amazon warehouse job because I got the job at the garden center. And wow. And then here I am today. And wow. It's so funny, like COVID was like so intense that like it just like don't think about it, because like it just like was so intense. But yeah, so I like worked at that garden center. I put like a bit of like a slow on the shirts making, although I still kept it up. And then I remember in the summer I kept it up more. I did a pride collection for June, and then that fall I basically decided that I was going to pick it up again in the tech realm by like partnering with therapists, private practice therapists, basically institutional people who work in mental health care, and then make House Today like a mental health care resource hub, so that there's always something that their patients can do. Because I remember what I said in like the video for it was basically like, I'm in therapy, I love therapy, but I oftentimes find myself not in therapy. And what helps me stay engaged with my mental health like process and like healing journey is like art classes, yoga classes, like things that aren't like basically like drinking centric, or like meant to sell me something, or just like things that are like calming and nice and good for health and good for the body. So I was like, oh wow, like that could be its own company of just like these kinds of events. They can happen virtually, they can happen elsewhere, but basically partnering with private practice therapists or like mental health care hospitals or behavioral health centers, and just like making it so that they get like a QR code that they can put into their lobby, that, or they can just like give their patients as like a card that is like, here's continued resources for you when you're not actually in like directly in my care, when you're just like in like the days in between the sessions. And I still think that's actually like a really great idea. So now that I'm talking it out again, maybe I'll pick that up again, because it's kind of a great idea, and it doesn't necessarily exist right now. Like it just doesn't. Like I'm sure like maybe it does on like a small scale, but just in terms of a mass company, I don't think that necessarily exists. So maybe maybe I'm just like realizing that I should start that up again because I know how to do it now. And maybe that's what this entire thing has been. Oh my God. Maybe that's what this entire thing has been. So I basically realized that I should do that. And then back then I actually got into I got some press coverage of it. I got into a startup incubator with a Uber investor, Jason Calacanis, if anyone knows him. Oh my god, Jason is one of my goats. Oh my god. And then also, I remember I got like a meeting with a mental health care venture capital investor, which is really interesting. It was like I put like a bunch of effort into it, and it like didn't necessarily like work out because again, I wasn't then a technical founder, so I wasn't able to actually code the things that I was like thinking about. Although I did build a pretty nice website, it just like wasn't enough to push me to the point where I'd actually get funding, and that funding is what would have let me like actually make the actual infrastructure for the company. So it just wasn't necessarily possible then, but now guess what, everyone, it's possible now. Whoa, because what? AI, it's so cool. Let me think. Are there any more notes? Yeah, so I mean, like through that Etsy shop, I like raised like basically like $2,000 of like money just by like selling these shirts and these things, which is really cool. And then I donated all of it. And then I got the meetings with like venture capitalists, and I got into the venture capitalist startup incubator. I made some videos for YouTube because I was basically like, oh, I can make like a YouTube live stream of just like the content until I could actually do events. I rented out an office space for this. Oh my god, I'm just like really did put in a lot. I put a lot of effort into this. And it's so funny because I just like have forgotten about it all because I was so burnt out from COVID itself that like I just like was completely burnt out. But now that I'm realizing, I just like really put in a lot of work, and I should probably pick that back up. But yeah, so I guess that is the conclusion, or not the conclusion right now. I'm gonna cut in the greatest hits of the historical video. Oh my god, wow. There's gonna be yeah, you'll just see. You'll just see.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Michael Seigan, and I'm the founder of How's Today, a digital wellness hub for in-person therapy. Available 24/7, there's a feed of wellness content, resources, and unlimited access to online live events like yoga, meditations, cooking classes, art classes, and walking groups. Available for therapists to offer their clients as an additional resource for clients to healthily manage time in between sessions of therapy.
So I just was dropping off deliveries, and I made an order. Woo! While doing it. That was hilarious. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay, so I just took the photos for all of the shirts that I had made, and there was like 30 of them, and they're right over here. And I feel like it only took me like an hour because the sun didn't move that much. That was fun. But now I have to edit them and then save them into a standardized file so that I can keep them organized, and then I have to list them. Oh my god. Hello, this is my first live. I'm very nervous. It looks real, kind of. I mean, I wouldn't call up Kara Swisher and be like, hey, I can have the Decode Festival here today. No. But for the place that I'm at in my own life, it is good and cool, and I'm excited and I'm happy. Whoa. Wasn't that cool? I thought this was gonna be like a short update, but it turns out that there was a lot to update on, and I actually didn't even like realize about like all that stuff about like the How's Today thing. So pretty cool. Oh my god. and now I'm actually like remembering even more. So I'm just gonna keep it concise, concise as whatever this is, but not continue more blabbing. But that was just such a potent time, and I'm actually really happy that I got to share it now. But yeah, so something that's cool about like all of that stuff is like it wasn't possible then, but like I kept engaging with my process, and I just like never gave up. That's like really the thing, is just like never give up, because like if you don't give up, like things around you are gonna change. Like even things like I'm different then, in terms of like I'm more mature now and I'm just in a different place in life now, but like I just like never gave up. And that's really the thing, is because I just never gave up. I stayed engaged with my process. And also, things around me changed. Like, I had no idea that AI was going to be a thing in 2020. Like, I just like had no idea. I mean, even though I like did have an idea of like AI, I just like didn't know that it was going to be possible to like just do what I'm doing right now, because I thought AI was going to be a thing like in the 2040s. So here we are in 2025, and more things are possible. And I'm actually way more mature and able to act on these things now, which is really cool too. So I'm happy. I think it's pretty cool. And I'm glad that I stayed engaged with my process and that I didn't give up. So the moral of the story is don't give up. Never give up. Don't give up. And just like keep trying things, because the more you limit yourself and you like don't try things. I was like afraid then. like I had no idea what I was doing. It's like why am I doing any of this stuff? Like it like I'm not sure that it's gonna work out. Like I'm afraid it's not gonna work out at all. But like you just gotta push past that, and then you gotta like push publish, and you actually have to like list the thing on the website, or you just like have to like go to the place and do the thing. Like you just like never let fear or anxiety get in your way. Although of course like doesn't mean that you should just like do whatever. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, even though like nothing has like necessarily like happened. I'm just like happy that like I've kept engaged with myself, and that I've allowed myself to mature and arrive at where I'm at right now, which is today. So thank you for the journey, and happy Mental Health Day. See you around.